Hello guys, and welcome. This will be my purple Luffy profile for OP-05. I want to preference this with my profile is really meant for my locals meta, and I will be giving out like some changes I would do if I was going to a larger event, or if your locals has a different meta from mine. So this leader, if you guys don't know, it lets you take a life, add it to your hand, and if you do, you get to ramp a Dawn. And it's active, which is like the best part. This is one of the top 3 leaders in the game currently. I think he might be the worst of the 3, but he has really good matchups into Enel, and his Sakazuki matchup is like iffy. But I did kind of tech my deck to face the Sakazukis that we have at my locals. But without getting too carried away, let's go ahead and get started with the 2k counters. For my first 2k counter, I run 4 Double Finger. Really like this card. It helps you just get a little more ahead if your hand has some dead cards for a matchup. It lets you trash a card to ramp a Dawn, and it even has a trigger to -1, play it, and then you get a body. Most of the time, I just play this straight from my hand if I need it, for matchups where I need to go as wide as possible, but most of the time she's just a 2k counter. Another 2k counter is the Frenosuke. With 8 Dawn on the field, you can give him 1 Dawn, and he has Rush. So he's basically a 6 cost 5k body. This doesn't really come up, but there's sometimes where like he just does. Like you just need one more hit and he can just do it. The last 2k counter that's really just utility is the X-Drake. His effect is -1. Your opponent trashes a card. He's kind of like the opposite of the 4 cost blocker law that trashes 2 from your hand, because they don't get to pick, but this one lets them pick. This is probably my least played 2k counter. I really only do this when I'm going for game against matchups where their hand size is already low. But he is good because he has a 5 cost body, and if I need to go wide on a board, I will play him. Now for the most played 2k counter that I have, it is definitely the ulti. If you watched any of my purple Luffy videos, this is a part of the ulti page 1 combo. Her effect is on play, you can minus a Dawn to play a 4 cost or less page 1 from your hand. And that's typically going to be the vanilla page 1. There is another one from OP-01, I believe, that people can play, but it's just the vanilla stat line is better than the effect that one has. Also, you can play, these are pretty much your turn 2 plays here. I'm just going to go ahead and bring in the Apu. If you're going first, these are typically the cards that you want to play going first, and once you ramp, you go up to 4 Dawn on your 3 Dawn turn. They're just like the best thing to play, honestly, these vanillas. And then if you need a matchup where you need to go wide and they can't clear a board too fast, you do the ulti page 1 combo, which I typically do this combo in Enel games or Nami games, because going wide is pretty freaking good, and you'll be able to drop a Magellan later. The other ones are the Law and the Uta. So this is where I was kind of talking about how my deck is kind of teched for my meta. In my meta, there's Zoros still running around, so the Uta really helps with those matchups. And there's also Enels and Sakazukis where the Law will come in handy. The Law is like okay in the Sakazuki matchup. It hits sometimes. A lot of people play around it. The Uta is amazing in the Zoro matchup because the minus effect only happens on block. So if you don't actually block with this, you don't even have to worry about losing the Dawn. So when you go to your next turn, you still have extra Dawn. So you don't actually have to take more life to ramp faster against the Zoro, for example. And they're gonna want to remove this. This thing is like a jet pistol magnet if they run jet pistol, of course. And then if they swing their little bodies, this is easily like gonna block, rest it, and then you can clear the board. Very good card. I actually swing with this a lot more than I should because of the 5k line. If you are in a meta where there's not a lot of Zoros though, I would definitely just recommend bumping this to 4. It forces your opponent to respect early swings. So you'll either get a card out of hand, or you'll get a life and get 2 cards out of hand. So I definitely recommend bumping this up if you don't have as much Zoros running around as I do. Really good. The Law is really good. The Uta, again, for the red matchup, because that matchup can be very annoying. Now for the all-stars of the deck, the 5 cost. So we're going to start with 4 Poly. Poly's effect is on play, you can rest 2 additional Dawn. So on your 7 Dawn turn, which will be like turn 3, you can pop a 4 cost and you get to ramp an active Dawn. So the play you really go for is on your 7 Dawn turn, you play the Poly, pop something, ramp a Dawn, now you're at 8 Dawn. You give it to your leader, you swing 6, next turn you're at 10. So this is like turn 3, this is what you want to be playing every time. So I run him at 4 because I figured that no matter what the matchup is, playing this Poly is probably the best card that I can be playing. Like in Zoro and Sakazuki and even Enel, like playing this Poly gives you so much tempo and lets you just get to 10 so quick. Alright, and then for after Poly, we have 3 Magellan. This card is amazing. Why am I running it at 3? So like largely in my locals with the Namis and the Zoros running around, this card actually doesn't do too much. So against Nami, for example, if they lose 1 Dawn, they're not really worried about it unless it's going to be like their Zeph turn. Against Zoro, again, they're not really worried about 1 Dawn. They'll probably just ignore this thing too the entire time and never hit it. And then if they do hit it, they're just going to wait until it doesn't affect them when they're on their like 10 Dawn turn already and they've already played. Plus Zoro's trying to end the game like quickly anyways. So same thing with the Sakazuki. If you play this on curve and they have it, they're gonna Hound Blaze this. They're never gonna pop this. They're just gonna ignore it. It has to fight their blockers like Borsalino and Sabo at neutral. So like this card is really good in Sakazuki to like throw them off. It's amazing in Enel. This card literally melts Enel's boards because this thing existing makes them play their boss monsters 1 turn later. And then if you play 2 of these, they're playing it 2 turns later, and it's terrible. I would probably play this at 4 in a bigger event, knowing that I'm going to see more Enels and Sakazukis. I will show you the card that I would replace for the Magellans, though. But yeah, these are like your curve. Usually, turn 1, you skip. Turn 2, if you're going second, you're going to play this. And then the next turn, you're going to play this. And then if it's not, you're going to go turn 1, you get 1 Dawn, turn 2, you go 4, you play one of your vanillas, or depending on the matchup, you'll go ulti, so you have 2 bodies, and then on your next turn, you go Magellan, next turn Poly, next turn Kaido. It's amazing. Like, this deck gets up there so quickly, and you can minus the Dawn, and it doesn't even hurt. But to kind of prevent these losses of Dawn, you have the real stars of the show. You know, you have the Useless Captain Kid from OP-05, the blocker that when you lose a Dawn, you gain 1 back as active. So this card is amazing, especially if you're on a 10 Dawn turn and you combo it with the Queens. Man, like, the amount of defensive pressure, I don't even know if that's like the right wording. If you're on your 10 Dawn turn and you are already like established, going Kid then Queen, or even double Queen, it feels so good. You get to go so wide, you get to get so many cards, and then if you have a Kid, like, you get to keep the active Dawn, so your leader is gonna swing 6. If you have 2, swing 7. Like, it's amazing when you can combo these 2 together and keep them both on the board. These 6k body blockers trivialize a lot of matchups. Your opponent always has to commit Dawn, so in a Sakazuki matchup, they're going to swing at you for 5 or 6, right? You get to block one of these, and they're going to minus one of them, but you already get the block off. And it happens on the when attacking, so if they minus, like, say they swing Sakazuki for 6, and they minus this queen, I will block with this queen, you know? Because this queen is most likely going to get removed anyway. And then they have their 10 Dawn still, so they have to commit a Great Eruption, and then they have to do the Rebecca combo, and then they have to go into a Lucci, and that's all they're done. And they swung at you 1 time that you blocked with a blocker that's already gonna like go away. You know, it's just really nice to have these guys. Plus, they're gonna keep filling up your hand. And I mean, like with 1 Dawn, like these guys are swinging 7k. If you're going for a game, like these guys are doing it. And I will tell you guys right now, so you're gonna end up swinging with these blockers because most of the time, the blockers, when they swing, they are still blockers. People are going to want to hit these things, they're going to want to clear them. So Swinging with these is not bad, and they're easier to defend than your leader. The only time you really don't swing with these guys is in matchups where you know they're going to get removed if they stick for 2 turns. Or as if you have like the double 7 cost kid bringing you up to 7k, because now these guys are smaller and easier to hit, you know? But yeah, these guys, amazing. Here's the card that I've really been... This is like my spicy tech that I've been running a little bit, is this Rob Lucci. He is on attacking, or when attacking, -1 Don, you can rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. This card is actually really nuts. It puts a lot of pressure on the opponent and their blockers. So like this rests Sabos. This rests mirror match kids and queens. And again, if you combo this thing with kids, like this is free. Like you're not wasting anything from doing this. I love this card. It crazy in the Nami matchup. I can freeze Boodles, go for game. Good in Enel. If they rip a Sanji off a life, I can rest it, go for game. If they, I mean, like this thing is amazing. Like this helps me beat Sakazuki's through Rebecca, Sabo, Borsalino. Helps me play through some triggers in Enel. Yeah, I love this card. I haven't done too much testing with it as of late because it's a more recent ad. But I haven't not liked this card. I love this card. You give him a Don 2 and he's swinging 7. It's just a magic number. He's almost vanilla stats, and his ability can be free, but also helps you just win games. There's actually like another combo I'll bring up when I get to the events in this deck. And now for the end of the characters, the boss boys, you have the 7-drop kid, on play / when attacking -1 Don. Your leader gains +1k power until the end of the next turn, making Luffy a Whitebeard, you know? Making him the 6k Luffy. This card is amazing. It stacks, and if you are if you're in the situation where you can't play Poly, you play this. Like this will give you enough defense to literally make you survive turns. I don't run him at 7, or not 7. Sorry, I saw his number and I read it. I don't run him at 4 because too much of him is like bad for me. There is an argument to run him at 7 because he is like really good. He will literally win you games just existing. And he helps a lot out in the Zoro matchup for me. But in Sakazuki and in Enel, like he just gets removed. He's too easy for them to remove. They'll literally go Ice Age for 1, Helm Blaze for 2, and then even though I'm at 6, like they gave their leader 8k, so now I still have to commit 2k counter. But like this like trivializes a lot of rogue matchups. He's just so good. I love this card. I just wish he was better, man. Like if he was like 9k and he was like basically the Kaido stat line and he still did what he did, like amazing. Like god card right here. But then, the actual god card, Kaido. This dude right here, best card in the whole deck. This guy, when he hits the field, he is a problem. You play this card, and now your opponent has to commit things to either clear him, or they have to kill you before he kills you. This is, basically when you play this Kaido, your opponent is on a countdown. It's kill or be killed. So, the only time this card, like, kind of sucks is in the purple Luffy mirror match, and you drop it first. And your opponent has it, so they can drop it second. That's, like, the only time this card is, like, feels bad. But most of the time you play this card and you can end game. So in like the Enel matchup, if you've seen my Enel video, I literally just hold him in hand and my opponent rips a blocker Sanji and I'm like, oh cool, you got a blocker Sanji? Well, I still have 10 Dawn up, so like this guy's coming down. Boom, clear the Sanji, go for game. In Sakazuki, it kind of sucks because they are able to play their Sabo the turn before you play your Kaido. So my recommendation when that happens is when they play their Sabo, you go wide. You don't play the Kaido, you go as wide as possible. So you want to play any of your 5k bodies or any of your 4k vanillas in combination to go as wide as possible, which is another reason why I run this Lucci, because I can drop him and I can drop a 4k body. And now, yes, they got their Sabo, but now I can rest their Sabo. So they have to deal with this Lucci, and This basically wastes their turn, so that next turn I can drop the Kaido anyway and start swinging on them. That is just the pressure that this Lucci provides, but you won't always have him because again, you're only running him at 2. So going as wide as possible with the queens in the kids is arguably like just as good because you're getting blockers, you're getting defense. But yeah, that's just if they drop the Sabo the turn before you do the Kaido, you need to go wide. You can't still drop the Kaido and put the pressure unless you're going for game that turn, which, let's be honest, if they're dropping a Sabo, they probably already have a Rebecca, and you're probably not killing them that turn anyway unless they let you keep your entire board. But then for the last bit of the deck profile, I run 2 Gatlings. I recently dropped this from 3 to 2 and bumped the Frankie up 1, and I removed 2 other cards. I don't remember which ones for the Sheep's Horn. I didn't know. I was sleeping on this card. I knew this card existed. I was like, why would I play this when I could play Top Knot and get the same results? But I've been able to just massively go for games on turns that I really shouldn't, because I'll have this combo in hand right here. I will go Sheep's Horn, 1 blocker, and I rest 2 Dawn, and I lose a Dawn. And then I'll go Lucci Swing minus the other Dawn that's rested, and I don't have to waste active Dawn. I don't have to equip a Dawn. I just neutralize 2 blockers, and I did it all for the cost of minus 2 Dawn. I don't mean to like preach this Lucci because he is really good, but he's very, I don't know, he's very kind of jank almost. Like, he's okay. He's not the best card in the deck by far, but he very much helps you seal games. Him and Sheep's Horn, I'm loving the combo. The Gatling, like, you have so many non-counter cards, like this is just obvious. It basically, Gatling reads trash card from your hand, give a leader or character 3k, but it essentially means like, this is a 2k counter, and something else in your hand is a 1k. And then the Sheep's Horn, you get to rest a character with a cost of 6 or less by minusing a Dawn and resting 2. Again, just good for ending games. Yeah, there's not much to it. It's a pretty standard profile. My weird tech is really just this Lucci and the lack of like the 7k vanilla Urashima. I feel like that card is really good, but if they can remove the kid, they can remove the Urashima. So I decided to go with just going in with more vanilla forward costs, because going wider in the Sakazuki matchup I feel is better than going taller. If you guys have any questions, please leave a comment below, and if you liked the profile, let me know if you try it out. But yeah, other than that, you guys have a great day, and like, comment, subscribe. Peace.